I've had this conversation a couple of times since being here. I feel utterly unqualified to have this conversation in public. But then, as everyone's been saying, I don't think anyone really is qualified. I don't know of anyone. Yeah, let's switch. Come on, man, let's do this. But because all of this is such a nascent area, I don't know of anyone who's been involved long enough to see the patterns and have understood the best practices yet. I certainly haven't. Let's bring up another. Come on, let's do it.
You can join.
But I'm happy to share what I know so far. So just super quick, I run a thing called The Rattle. It started about 4.5 years ago. And in many ways, it was a DAO-like thing before DAOs were a thing. It's always been a community, primarily a community based in a space, and operated kind of like a collective, a little bit of shared ownership, a little bit of shared governance, without tokens or anything being involved. So when the conversation around DAOs started arriving, we were like, well, this looks like some of these philosophies look like what we've been based on since the beginning. So we've been exploring how to transition into something token-based. Recently, we launched an NFT, or a group of NFTs. Taka bought one. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But that wasn't that wasn't in any way really related to the internal behavior of our members. These tokens are for observers or outsiders, third parties who want to join in, see what we're doing, and meet some of our people. So that's how we're currently using tokens. But as we'll get onto, there are thousands of different ways you can deploy that technology. So that's me.
Great. Yeah, I'm Takayuki Suzuki. You can find me in LinkedIn, and I'm running my own consultancy company in Tokyo, based in Tokyo, Japan. And I work for a management company, labels, and the DSP and the tech companies for focusing on the music tech. And also since last year, so I fell into the rabbit hole of the Web3. And I've been working on several projects relevant to the music plus Web3 area, like NFT advising and also the real metaverse real estate development company with the culture or the music and entertainment in Decentraland. And also the last one is Music DAO with the Japanese independent artists. So our Music DAO is called the Friendship DAO, which is the new tokenized and incentivized community top on that, like the music distribution service called Friendship. And so this is a really curated music distribution service. We selected over 200 Japanese great music independent artists. And also we would like to expand and promote to them, to the global audiences, also the global industry people. And also we would like to gather the people from like you guys and also around the world. And also we would like to incentivize with token or some NFT to, if you do something for our member artists or the creators, and also if you collaborate with someone, so that will be incentivized by token. So that is our idea of the Friendship DAO.
My name's Ali Samadpour. I don't have the experience that these guys have with the DAO space. I am a performance and growth marketer in the event experience space. So my vision for DAOs, I only come to you today with ideas and vision. I don't have the execution that these guys have yet, but if anyone in this room is interested, let's do something. I come from events and marketing background, and I would love to see how we can implement DAOs to kind of create a democratized version of throwing events and experiences that go for 5 years instead of just a one-off show, like a 5-year token or a pass that fans or token holders would be able to decide where the experience will be, the talent that's getting booked, what the extra activities are, and allow these people to then trade their tokens in after 2 years' time or resell it. Let the artists, the partners, continue to get residual payments on the DAO transactions and make it more valuable as the experience goes on. So using a DAO to create value and democracy in the event throwing process.
How many people you know what DAO is? Okay, good. So
You're in the right place.
Yeah, and then the other question, how many people here have a wallet and own, well, some kind of NFT? That's
Great.
actually quite a lot. Yeah.
That's great.
Cool. All right. Well, definitely you know more than we do.
How's the value of your
How
NFTs
many
right now?
people in the room for be a DAO member or the contributor? Okay, great.
Yeah. Sweet. All right. Any questions? And I am serious because there are tons of directions we could go in. But anyone want to lead this? Anything in particular you want to go for it?
I have a question for Taka. The tokens, what can you do with it, or what
Token
can
swap?
you get from it? Yeah.
Token swap?
No, the tokens you said we have a DAO, and then we give out tokens. But what exactly?
Yeah. So the friendship DAO issue token as a kind of a currency. This is not cryptocurrency at the beginning, but we will try to be exchangeable to the other tokens, other cryptocurrency, and also the actually the Japanese regulatory or the legal framework is really far behind. Also, we're going to start by the Japanese just corporate mileage or something like that. But if our legal framework has to be ready, so we exchangeable into the token, and also that we issue token, and also the give artist or the creator, and also they also the give and provide a token to the supporter or the collaborator if they see the value in that. So this is not something like a contract base or just manager or something, but maybe if you ask John to introduce someone in the industry, if I am an artist, if I sign to the manager via the John, so usually I can buy you a beer or something, but in the friendship DAO, I can issue token to John as a compliment.
But at this point, artists are not issuing tokens.
Artists are not directly issue token, so community issue token and give to artists.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they oh, go ahead.
Unrelated question, but it's okay. I've been collecting NFTs for a while. What's kind of pretty cool about them is how you can bootstrap a community off an NFT project, and so you see that a lot in the PFP space. I've been waiting for it to kind of happen in music, but I haven't seen it happen, even with projects like Royal, which allows you to like royalties, or another block out of Sweden, which has the same concept. They'll release like a track where you can own part ownership in the royalty streams, but the communities aren't really being bootstrapped. Like the discords there's not really much action going in there, versus like a PFP project where it's like, hundreds of thousands of members sometimes, and it's like going crazy. So I wonder why that is. Like, how come the music drops haven't been able to bootstrap the same kind of communities that these kind of arts/PFP projects have? And if you've seen any kind of music NFT releases that have been able to kind of bootstrap communities in the same way.
Damn, that's a good question. No is the answer. I haven't. And
I would just say,
go on, Trisha.
This isn't an NFT example, but Audius.
Yeah.
Audius would be like the best example I could think of.
Yeah, that's like with like the SoundCloud where you can like drop in comments, and if you
Yeah, well, they have a super active Discord too, and like people are like hardcore.
Yeah, I guess Friends with Benefits is probably the one that comes to mind.
Yeah, I'm a member of them.
And something like SommerDAO or something?
Yeah.
Pretty active as well, I think.
So you don't think Friends with Benefits qualifies it for your
Well,
definition?
I think that's more like broadly cultural.
Yeah.
Right?
But Friends with Benefit, I'm a member of Friends with Benefit, but it's too big to just jump in. So I think that is also the really the great learning for our DAO. And also we're gonna start with a really smaller group and 200 creators, and also the Japanese industry member who have a cutting edge mind, forward thinking, and also that we would like to bring also like-minded people from all around the world. But it's not just it's really not open. So it is really curated or closed to the invitation. So I think that we are really carefully planning.
Yeah.
And were you asking about like why there isn't as much support on it? Is that the real question?
No, because I think the power of it, of all this NFT stuff is in the communities that can,
For real.
like if I were to launch a brand today, whether it would be a fashion brand or like any kind of brand, I would consider starting it with an NFT project, because I think it's like a really quick and not easy, but it's a really interesting way to build a strong community really quick. Obviously the financial incentives of collecting those NFTs is what draws a lot of the community action. But I haven't seen it really happen in music yet, which surprises me. Maybe audience is actually a kind of a good
Sorry to interrupt. Are they fans or are they crypto natives?
That's the problem.
And that's the thing, because actually, if you launch anything NFT today, you get that social thing. Are they actually the fans? Are they the ones lasting through? There might be a percentage of hardcore fans who happen to be interested or know something about NFT, but they're not. But most of them aren't really your fan base. So I think to John on the rattle, you're not. You've got your existing community, and actually, are they crypto natives, and who's buying into that actually percentage-wise? Because, and is it too early? Sites like OneIS, and even I think it was Gareth was saying yesterday on Record Shop, they don't even use the word NFT on their website, right?
Well, you have like Top Shot, for example, which brought in like a huge amount of users to that world without even really knowing what NFTs was, because they used like the Flow blockchain. It was super easy just to get onboarded, right? And I think music could probably look to that as an example.
I think so too.
Yeah, there are I think two types of the community. So like based on the fan base. So the Web3 fan base, which is more interactive than the just audience. But also the Friendship DAO is also aiming to build the more kind of global, maybe B2B and industry collective. So I think that this is really different than the TFP or the other projects.
Yeah, no, I mean, in our experience of selling, and I think in total we grossed, it was about $110,000 in a week. It was just a very short, quick sale. That was from about 150 or so purchases, so those were quite high value NFTs. And it was a very small set of experiences there. But we don't think we appealed properly, either because we didn't have the time, because we turned it around so quickly, or because of how we positioned what we were selling. We don't think we appealed properly to the crypto native crowd. And so we had a little bit of crossover, a few people who bought NFTs, you could see their wallets, a few things, but a large proportion of the people that bought ours, it was the first thing they'd ever bought, and that was a hard sell. But we'd set up, and don't try and sell NFTs through PayPal or Shopify, because we've been banned from both. And they're holding our money, so they've got about 80 grand worth of our money that we can't access. But we'd set up those purchases through fiat.
You can get your money back now. PayPal just started doing crypto, so reach out to them right now.
Yeah, if you do it from the beginning, then they're cool with it. But we didn't, because we just spun it up so quick. And so our money's locked until October or something like that. But we set up this fiat route and this direct mint route, and quite a lot of people came through that fiat route. But it was a really hard sell, and picking the right language to appeal to people that aren't native was a real challenge for us, for sure.
I also want to add, so piggybacking on what both of you just said, we have to also consider the broader ecosystem of the music industry. A lot of independent artists are niche, NFTs are niche, so we're going two little niche markets that it doesn't have the mass appeal just yet. The larger artists like Drake, who could bring in 1 million NFT buyers, are locked into deals with Universal for $500 million as of earlier this year. So we're not going to attract the right talent who's truly independent and can properly launch an NFT. I think it's just a little bit too early. As we approach more equitable deals for artists through record labels like Empire, where ownership is remained with the artist, now we can start looking into artists launching very viable NFTs on these platforms. But right now, I think it's still early, and that transition is starting to happen.
Then again, like these PFP projects, like nobody had heard of them, like, right? And they're dropping. So what if you had a crypto native group that doesn't even exist in the real world, that just kind of like they're a native group? Maybe that could be kind of like an entryway to appeal, like kind of build up from the bottom up.
I think it will happen. I genuinely do. Why hasn't it yet?
Sure.
What's the value proposition though? if we create that group, what's the value proposition? Who's going to care enough to actually invest into it? Like that's something that would need to be addressed as well. How is it marketable? How can it be sold?
I think it might be something to do with the kind of perception of a limited opportunity in this space comparatively. Like a PFP project can be enormous, but an tokenized artist project can only achieve a certain scale because, well, in people's minds, until someone breaks that preconception as to how big it can get.
Well, you know, you could hold a concert in the sandbox for 10 million people.
Yeah, for sure, and I think it's it will take a brave, well-funded, aggressive group to prove that,
Yeah.
and I just think it's a matter of timing. It just hasn't been done yet.
Yeah.
Generally, how do DAO communities communicate?
Discord.
Yeah. Is it 100% Discord?
In my experience, right now that's the platform most people have decided to use because it's one of the platforms that has most quickly integrated a lot of token-based functionality.
And is there like a general kind of age group or like type of person that is in these communities? Like like
white men,
right?
in their 20s.
That was that was my question.
And that's a massive issue,
Yeah.
a massive feature that needs to be discussed openly. It's there are lots of reports on this. Most NFTs are owned by what is quite a narrow band of humanity. So I jest, but that's generally the case.
Is that a lack of accessibility and education? What do you think is causing that?
Do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, I don't have answer, but maybe.
I'm just wondering too.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Like, do people not know enough? It's just geeks,
You
right?
to be a geek.
Yeah.
We're all here.
Yeah. And
It's very messy. It's so messy. I mean, we're talking about crypto natives, but I mean, it's so messy. If you're not a crypto native,
Yeah.
you're just a fan and you want to like endorse a number of artists, or you want to contribute to the DAO or to whatever is happening. It's just too messy at this stage,
Yeah.
I think, for non-crypto natives. And there's also the discussion between like liquid tokens and non-liquid tokens. I mean, we're always talking about financializing this relationship, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be like that. I mean, you can financialize it, of course, to bootstrap but you can also issue tokens in exchange for contribution and for like. And I think that's an interesting discussion as well.
But I think that one of the reasons that the buying of tokens isn't broadly accessible is that you've kind of, to be comfortable with the idea of locking away your capital, let's just call it, in that kind of asset, you've got to probably already done that in some way before. You've got to kind of know what, financially speaking, what that feels and looks like. And you need to have the assets available to be able to lock them away and risk what could be quite a large portion of your total wealth. And so it is inherently right now a space that's occupied by people that come from or have achieved some level of wealth, and that in itself narrows it right down to a small portion of humanity.
Question about.
I was also going to say, for some of the DAOs where there's sort of a play-to-earn model, it's the people who have the most time, right?
Yeah.
Who often in a lot of societies doesn't have a lot of time.
Yeah. Yeah, and so if you're working 10, 12 hours a day and you're just about covering your costs.
Or if you're a single mom,
Yeah,
you're
probably
not.
not.
Screw around
Exactly.
in a DAO all day.
And these are very practical, very real issues. And someone want to solve them? I don't feel capable, but I'll try.
Maybe it's really broad crypto issues or something. Yeah.
Gareth, you must know something about this.
You're gonna do music PFP?
As a white man involved in NFTs.
Well, there's that. It is. It's very centralized in the US as well. I think the broader problem is that there's like a utopian promise that is undermined by some foundational things that kind of need to get addressed. And part of the problem is that kind of missionary zeal, for want of a better term, has been a large part of how most platforms have marketed. Like a lot of what has got us to this point is leaning in to that notion that we can build this better future. but I think so the studies about like kind of crypto holding, that's all pretty new. Like I think the thing John's referencing, I think that report came out end of last year. So I think actually being aware of any of these problems is the beginning of solving some of it. So
I think that when it comes to the kind of more broad or Web3 the landscape, so I think the player or the dApps products are really somehow diverse. Like Decentraland is come from the Argentine, and I also have a really gaining network to the France metaverse company and the digital fashion company, and also the Fabricant from I think the UK, and also another kind of Spanish companies, also the digital fashion. So I think that they are really also into the Web3 from the various spaces like music and fashion and entertainment. I think that is also for me that is a beauty part of the Web3. This is not centralized of the Silicon Valley or the other the kind of centralized the investing the ecosystem.
And do you think that people who are joining these communities are joining it for like a community feel, or they're joining it to make money?
It's super important, interesting question. Yeah, we again, just from limited experience, we thought for we only had about a week to turn it around. But we thought for about a week about that. In designing our language, we had to make decisions about what we wanted to appeal to, because, as I said earlier, there's a group of people out there, the crypto native crowd, that I don't think we appealed to, and that was actually in the end a fairly deliberate choice. But in order to win as a PFP style project, you have to do things in a particular way. It has to look and smell a particular way, I think, and we decided to go against that, and that crowd is mainly incentivized by financial return, I think, even though there's a veneer of other motivations there. That's primarily what's driving behaviour, and yeah, we decided to go against that because what we wanted our token sale to be about was about people like Taka supporting the Rattle in its mission to support our members and wanting to participate and kind of being a patron. And so there's a little bit of philanthropy there, but with the option of selling a token on for a profit. There's utility because you can join the community. So we decided to go down that route, but I think you do have the choice. You have the choice to use token technology to achieve and appeal to a wide range of motivations. And I think that at the moment hasn't solidified or become broadly understood enough. And the term token, the term DAO is being used for all of these different use cases. And I think they're all quite different. A PFP, let's just go for the moon, let's all make loads of money, is very different to what we're doing. They all get lumped together under the same category. So someone was going to...
I was just going to add, it depends on the community you're trying to attract and what your offering is, what your mission is. When I think about music experiences and doing a DAO in that kind of space, if we were to piggyback off of, for example, Above and Beyond and their Anjuna family, are we familiar with this group? It's like more like an EDM and trance group, and their audience is highly engaged, and I think they would be more interested in a DAO, not for financial return, but for building community, shaping experiences, and shaping what the merch looks like, things like that. It just depends on the audience you're going after.
Also, we would like to make visible for the contribute or the rewarded, and also we also learning from the audience ecosystem, and also this is also there is also financial return from the token. But so if you do some contribution for the audience, but this is a really little return when it comes to the audio token to the US dollar, but this is also the visibility of what they do or what they did for something. So I think that this is also I hope this could be the really more kind of a motivation to do something for the artists or the community and do some collaboration.
We're getting 22 seconds now,
Yep.
but just to wrap up, because I think for me it's always been an important example of the extremity of what you can achieve with a token in a community. There's this company called The Anthill that actually kind of spawned out of the Rattle. There's a guy called Gigi Piscatelli who actually worked for us for a bit, and The Anthill was a kind of sparring off of what he saw the Rattle being good at and what he thought it was being not so good at. And they've created effectively an entire economy in the financial sense, where the token plays all the same roles that a dollar does in the US economy. And I spent a lot of time talking about all of this with him. And it's enormous. When you go to that extent, you have to deal with things like inflation, import, export, immigration, emigration, all that kind of thing. And that's the most extreme version I've seen. I'm sure there are other examples of it. And then where we are is very much down the other end. And there's a whole broad range of things in between. I think that's my kind of resounding summary at the moment is that it hasn't been picked apart enough. Just like a website isn't a website. You can use a website to sell things or store information like Wikipedia. And that's slowly expanding out, and I think language is going to become incredibly important. These different types of token use case need to probably be given different terms so that people can separate them out in their brains. I don't know why I finished with that, but are we?
Okay. So let me just also the quick comments and okay. So I just I'm writing a blog for Friendship DAO about in English, and because I just uploaded 3 hours earlier today, and also please check I think that you can Google Mirror and Friendship DAO, Friendship DAO. And also I put the email form to keep you posted. So let's subscribe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.